And good evening, everybody. The tension with Canada is having a tangible impact on the economy and the culture here in Western New York. For a while now, we've been documenting how fewer Canadians are crossing the border and coming here to our region. Well, now the New York Times is adding a bunch of new reporting in this article with the headline, "See you in 4 years, Trump drives Canadians away from Western New York." Among the takeaways from the article is that over the past 2 years, Canadians made up about 7 to 10% of the monthly visitors to the Buffalo AKG Art Museum. But look, that's now under 3%, and it's been that way since February. At the Explore and More Children's Museum by Buffalo's waterfront, Canadians used to make up 25% of the guests. They're now budgeting for that to just be about 10% of the total number of the guests. The CEO telling the Times, quote, "It's such a disappointment." Similar numbers at the ballpark in Buffalo. The Bisons say that Canadians typically made up about a quarter of the fan base there at Salem Field. No surprise, considering we are the AAA affiliate of the Toronto Blue Jays, but that's now gone down to about 10%. And in Niagara County, both Art Park and the Aquarium in the Falls say they've seen about a 50% drop in Canadian guests. Mark Sommer wrote that article for the New York Times. He's live here with us tonight. Longtime reporter for the Buffalo News, retired and now contributing to the Times. Really great depth to this article because it's something we know is happening, Mark, but really to see the impact on these cultural institutions is really dramatic. And one that I didn't mention there, you spent some time at the fashion outlets in Niagara Falls. And anytime we go up there, we see all the Canadian license plates, right?
Yeah, you're not going to see too many now if you go up there. And when I was there, it was really pretty empty. You know, you've got these nice polished floors, but not a lot of feet walking on them. And in talking to those people that felt like they could talk to me, there's a lot of corporations that are there, corporate businesses, and people who work for them didn't feel like they could talk openly, but some people did talk to me, and it was clear that business is down 40 to 50%, generally speaking. There was a woman who worked at La Rosa Pizzeria in the food mall, and she said they have a screen that shows the Rainbow Bridge. They're monitoring how many cars are coming over. Not very many.
Wow. Yeah, that puts it into perspective. And of course, you think of the impact on tax revenue, sales tax revenue coming into the county, coming into the state ultimately. You also talk to Canadians about why it is that they're not coming, and it really is sort of multifaceted, but it's interesting their perspective on that.
Sure. You know, what I got from talking to Canadians is that many of them are they're baffled why there's even this a rupture between the United States and Canada. They're angry, they're offended, and they're afraid. They're afraid because they see images of ICE, you know, kind of Gestapo-like guys who are, you know, very militarized, and their faces are covered, and they're snatching people. And that surprised me the most, to hear Canadians saying, "We don't want to cross the border. We don't know what's going to happen to us." But they are really just taken aback at why suddenly the United States seems to be their enemy, because we've always enjoyed great relations.
So I didn't live in Western New York prior to 9/11, but it used to be, it was really easy to cross back and forth, right? After 9/11, obviously, there were security measures that were put in place, but we've still had this just long-standing relationship of you know, crossing the border back and forth.
Right.
So big picture, how long do you think this lasts based on your reporting, and where does this go?
Well, you know, it's hard to tell because you know, President Trump, you know, in the last few days, he didn't like an ad that was being run out of Toronto. So that had to do with President Reagan, who was very anti-tariffs. So Trump then on his own decided, well, I'm going to put 10% more tariffs on Canada. I'm not going to talk to them anymore. Like, who the heck knows? Who can guess? I know, talking to Patrick Kaler, who's the president of Visit Buffalo, he's very concerned. He feels that someone said, well, we'll see you in 4 years. That's a long time. And he's really afraid that Buffalo and Western New York will be tarnished to a lot of Canadians who used to come over, but they're like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And the longer this goes, the more harm it's going to do, he felt.
I only have a few seconds left here, but is that also the sense that you got from the folks who are running AKG, the Children's Museum, the Aquarium, all of these cultural spots?
There's really a great concern that the longer this goes, the worse it's going to be for everybody. And that it's just so unnecessary.
Yeah. We will continue to follow it. Great reporting. Great to see you showing up in the New York Times. Congratulations on that. Mark Sommer, contributor with the New York Times, longtime Buffalo News reporter. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.